Hey friends, I'm here with my second craft room update. A lot of things have changed and I'm really excited to see some progress here. And I'm also going to go through a few of the design choices that I made and show you a little bit more behind the scenes of what's going on in my craft room. So let's go ahead and take a look. Hopefully this is inspiring to you if you are either starting to build a craft room for the first time or if you're moving a craft room yourself just like I did. It's a little overwhelming, but in the end it's going to be awesome. All right, let's go ahead and see the latest update. Also, I need to mention, for the sake of time, I'm not able to link everything that's in my craft room, but for those of you who are asking about certain things that are in my craft room, I'm going to link my previous craft room tour. That way you can see all of the things that I use and some of the things that I put in my craft room to make it a little bit more organized. But I will link that down in the description box below, but because of time and because I'm trying my hardest to move into my space, it's just too hard to link everything that I have. But again, I have a video that contains all of that information, so I'm going to link that for you. Okay, here we are with the second week for my craft room update, and I'm doing these because if you missed it, I did move, and I am sharing my journey of moving my craft room. And as you can see, there are a ton of boxes that are still not unpacked yet, but you will also see that a lot of progress has been made in this space. So check out last week's video if you want a whole tour of my new craft space. And this week I'm going to show you all the progress that we did make. So in the middle of the room, as I was showing last week, we had our huge IKEA delivery. We designed a whole craft room through IKEA and they came on a huge moving truck. It was something like over 100 boxes. It was crazy. And they were all in the center of this room, but now we have done a lot of work. And when I say we, I lovingly mean my husband has done so much work. He has done such an amazing job getting this all put together. And I'll speak to the counters in just a minute because that is something we actually hired done. So the cabinet bases are all put in. As you can see, they are attached to the wall back there. And this is my basic setup for what my new craft space is going to look like. If you remember my old craft room, it's going to be heavily inspired by that space because I loved all of the finishes and all the design choices that I made. So I am definitely going to inspire it very much from my old craft room, but I went ahead and did a different layout based on the room that I'm in now. So here is what the layout's gonna look like. It's really neat. It's more of a peninsula style, so I'll have lots of counter along the back. I'm hoping to put my embroidery machine over here and then have all my embroidery stuff down on the bottom here. One thing that's really exciting is we did do lazy Susans on each side of my peninsula. It was a design choice that I really wanted to incorporate this time around, and I'm really excited to show you how I'm going to organize craft supplies using them. And then we have some of the drawer fronts and drawers all assembled and put in place. Now, I'm going to tell you, the blue every time always really freaks me out because when we open the package, I gasp thinking I accidentally ordered the wrong thing. But this blue is actually a film and they put it on there just to keep the front of the cabinet all protected during moving and building. And the reason I haven't peeled it off yet is for two reasons. So the first reason I kept it on is to simply show you. That way, if you are going to go ahead and order and design an IKEA craft room or setup, then when yours come, hopefully you don't panic like I do each and every time. But the second reason is, and again, I'll speak to it in a little bit, but we are having the counters custom done and they have come this week and worked really hard on them. And because they're going to be doing a lot of moving things around with tools and eventually gluing, I wanted to keep that film on the front just so that those drawers were really protected during the whole process. But it was also important that we went ahead and moved forward with getting the drawers built. That way we weren't held up during the countertop process. So this is the other side over here, and my plans are to put my heat press over here and then have all of my vinyl storage down here, which I think is going to be great. So I purposefully designed it so that we had lots of little drawers on this side and lots of little drawers on this little area here. And then again, I'm gonna have a lazy Susan here. And then right here is where I am going to sit, which I'm super excited about. And then I have some drawers on each side here. So I have 3 small, 1 big. This is kind of like a file drawer. I really like the size of that. And then I just went ahead and replicated it on the other side. And again, based on the craft island that I previously designed in my old house, which I did sell with my previous home, I went ahead and incorporated all of my favorite things about that setup. And then I, of course, because you naturally will learn things as you are growing in your craft space, I went ahead and incorporated some things that I wish I had done differently. So that is pretty much the setup, which I'm really excited about. I really like the layout. Another thing that we did is I went ahead and had the counter people go ahead and give me more of an overhang on this side, because I'm going to put 2 bar stools at the end for my girls. They love to come down and craft with me, and I really wanted to have a space for them to just be able to pull up a bar stool and get some crafting done as well. Now, originally I wanted that to be 12 inches, but because I went ahead and decided to do laminate, they told me if I did 12 inches, then I was going to have a bracket or a brace underneath, but it's more customary to do 9 inches, they said. So if I did the 9 inches, then I would not have to do all of that bracket work underneath. And I didn't want to have any type of support or brackets under there, just because I want it to be nice and clean, and I didn't want to have anything extra. So the 9 inches actually worked really, really great. So sorry for the sniffles. I am well from my last cold, and if you have kids, you know all too well that as soon as you get well, you catch another one. Okay, so here is the countertop. It looks really great. Now this is just the base. And what I did was I ordered some laminate, but the laminate that I ordered is taking a little bit longer. So our contractors were really awesome in that they offered to come and at least get the base done, so that when the laminate finally did arrive, they could come and really quickly add that on, and it wouldn't set back the project too much longer. So they were really, really great about that. Okay, so here are the countertop samples that I narrowed it down to, and I had a huge selection, but I went ahead and kept my top 2 so that I could show you kind of where my mindset was in going into this design. So both of these, I believe, are from Home Depot. This first one, and again, both of these are laminate options. It's just more economical, and for the space that I am doing it for, I thought laminate would be just fine. My last craft room was laminate. It was perfect, and I just didn't feel the need to spend an extra couple grand on stone. Okay, so this first one is Wilson Art. It is the white Carrara, either one. And this is a really, really pretty laminate. I like it. It's more of a white. It's simple. It doesn't have really bold, dark veining. It's just nice and subtle. This is also from Home Depot, and this is called Ice Mist. It's also from Wilson Art. And I will say this was my first choice, and I liked it because it was a little bit more similar to what I had in my old craft room, in that it had a really, and I don't know if I can get that on film very well, but it had a really nice texture to it. It's not completely smooth. I really liked the texture of it, and I really liked the matte look of it. However, when I got it here, and I urge you, if you are going to do any type of designing for countertop or paint, get samples, get multiple samples, bring them all home, and make sure you place them in your space, because your lighting is going to matter. And just because they look a certain way in the store does not mean it's going to look the same in your space. It also depends on the things that are outside of your window, right? So if you have tons of trees outside of your window, they are creating a different type of hue that comes into your windows, and that affects all types of color casts. So go ahead and get samples. And like I did, I got multiple samples because there are different variations, as you can see, from one style. So you can see this one's a little bit more dark. This was super light, and then this had a lot of veining in it. But again, this is the same product. So I wanted to get a variety, so I really knew the possibilities for what this could come in looking like. So in the end, when I brought this into my space, even though I loved it at the store, this turned out being super blue in my space. It was super cool in tones. And when I say cool in tones, I just mean it had a lot of blue in it. Whereas this was definitely more warmer. It had more of that creamy white to it, which I thought had a really nice, warm, soft look. And so in the end, this was a quick yes for me. I quickly said yes to this. It was just a no-brainer. So make sure you bring samples home, bring multiples of the same sample home with you too, because that will really, really help. So again, this is the one that I chose. And if you can see next to, let's see, if you can see next to my cabinets, it's gonna look really, really nice. I really like that look. It's different enough from the bright white of the cabinet, but it really is a nice soft gray, but a warm gray, which I really, really liked. Okay, so we went over countertops, and again, they just finished the base for them today. They spent 2 days working on this, and today they came and did all of the filling, and then they also did a lot of sanding, so it is perfectly level and ready to go for the next step, which is adding the laminate on top. Okay, so now the next thing I wanted to show you was I did go ahead and open the box and pull out all of my drawer pulls. So these are the accent pieces. These are the exact same pieces that I put in my last craft room. I guess they're called Gribble. They are a nice gold pull, and they look so nice and so sleek against that nice white cabinet front, and I love them. So the next step as we get all of these drawers assembled, and then again after the laminate and all of the gluing is done, then we will go ahead and take that film off. But again, I wanted to make sure that everything was protected as much as possible during this process. That way everything just stays really, really nice as we're building it. But then after we peel off that blue, then we can go ahead and start putting all of these drawer pulls on. Okay, one thing I wanted to speak to is that last time I gave you a craft room update, I had just had all of the boxes delivered from IKEA, and I was telling you that out of the 100+ boxes that came, only one came super, super damaged. Look at this. It did have a top on it, but of course we took the top off because we needed to get the stuff out to assemble it, right? But I was super nervous because it came pretty damaged, and they let me know when they were delivering it that they couldn't take it back. I had to just keep it, and then if, you know, for some reason it was all damaged, then I'd have to just talk to IKEA about it. So I wanted to give you an update on that because that became this bottom cabinet here. And let me see if I can open this without a drawer pull. But I was super excited because nothing was damaged, and the only thing that you can see, let's see if I can even see it here. Oh, I can. It's on the other side. There is some scratches just right here from where it got all scratched from being damaged. But you know what? That is not enough for me to complain to IKEA about. Quite honestly, it's the inside of a drawer. It's an inside of a single drawer out of this whole space. And so I took that as a win. Out of all of the boxes, if that is the only thing that is damaged was the inside of a little drawer, I'm calling that a huge win. Okay, so that is it for the craft room update for this week. I'm excited to share more as it keeps progressing, but I'm really happy with the progress. This has been such a fun thing to watch come together. It's really starting to feel real, especially now that everything has been put in place and the countertops are on. I feel like when they started putting at least the bases for the countertops on, but I feel like when they started constructing those countertop bases, that's when I really could start visualizing how much space I was going to have. And I really wanted to have a lot of counter space. Again, I really want to do more of my embroidery machine and supplies on this side. And then of course, my card making stuff will probably take most of this little bank of cabinetry up. And then the right side, again, I really want to focus my heat press there, and then all of my materials in those little spots. Now, I was telling you, I am doing 6 little drawers and then 6 little drawers. It's really important to me to have lots of little drawers for all of my vinyl supplies, just because I feel like there are a lot of little things. So it's easier for me to organize in that way. And again, and when I totally finish this craft room, you'll get an entire look at inside each of the drawers, but that was my process there. Now, I can't quite remember what I did over here. I'll have to look at my blueprint once more, but I can't remember exactly how I arranged it. I kind of think I did something like this, like a small, medium, and large drawer, but I could be totally fibbing and just not remembering what I did. But it's been a long process of designing and building, so naturally it's kind of exciting to see it come together because some of the elements are familiar, but they're a little bit of a surprise since the process has been fun but long, right? So that's pretty much it. One of the most exciting things that I am excited for is that while we were waiting for the countertops to be put in, they told us that we can start filling the drawers. So I'm really excited about that because then I can really start unpacking and getting an idea for where I want some of my supplies to go. But it looks like in the next few days I'll have the countertops in, and then I feel like it's really going to start coming together and coming to life after that. So thanks for watching the week 2 of my craft room update. It's been super fun. Again, if you missed week 1, then be sure to go ahead and rewind. I'll place that link down below so you can catch up. That way you can get a tour of the whole craft space as well as what I'm doing in the meantime in order to keep creating while this is such a mess. So hope you're enjoying this. Again, this is the reality of moving a craft room, and it's been fun taking you along on this journey. All right, everyone, I'll see you next week.